Wonder Murmur, where whispers weave the heart.
Hello, little hearts. A new whisper begins. In a big, beautiful house with sunlit rooms and a sprawling green garden lived a boy named Costly. His home was a place of comfort and ease, thanks to the people who worked tirelessly to keep it that way. There was Stephen, the janitor, who kept the floors shining. Julian, the gardener, who made the flowers bloom. Sandy, the garbage collector, who made the trash disappear. And Andy, the chef, who filled the kitchen with wonderful smells. But Costly, despite his lovely life, was not a lovely boy. He had a sour temper and an unkind word for everyone. When Stephen the janitor would pass by, Costly would stick out his chin and say, "Ugh, you're in my way, get out." When Sandy would collect the garbage, he would wrinkle his nose and say, "Pooh, you're so stinky." And when Andy would bring his dinner, he would sniff the plate and say, "This tastes awful, you're a terrible cook." Costly's friends, Choo Choo and Cha Cha, were the exact opposite. They always had a kind word and a cheerful smile for the workers. "Good morning," they would say to Julian. "Thank you for making our garden so beautiful." Costly's mother watched this with a heavy heart. She wanted her son to be kind and grateful, not rude and selfish. So she came up with a plan, a lesson that would teach him what words could not. One evening she called all the workers to her study. "I'm going to ask you for a favor," she said, her voice gentle. "Please, take a holiday for a few days. Don't come to work. My son, Costly, needs to learn a very important lesson there." The next morning, Costly woke up and came downstairs, expecting his usual clean, perfect house. But the floors were covered in a film of dust, and a pile of old newspapers was collecting in the corner. "You?" he said, turning up his nose. "Where is Stephen? Why hasn't he cleaned the house?" His mother, who was watching from the doorway, came forward. "Stephen won't be coming anymore, Costly. You'll have to clean up your own mess." Costly's jaw dropped. "What?" he cried. He took a broom and began to sweep, but the dust flew everywhere. The hard work made his arms ache and his back feel sore. "This is terrible," he groaned, pushing a pile of dust into a clumsy heap. All the hard work made him very hungry. He went to the kitchen and sat at the table, his stomach rumbling. "I'm hungry. Andy, get me my lunch." His mother appeared again. "I'm sorry, dear, but Andy won't be coming anymore. You'll have to make your own lunch." Costly stared at her. He had never made anything in his life, not even a sandwich. He fumbled with the pots and pans, trying to make something, but his attempt at a meal was a disaster. The bread was burnt, the cheese was hard, and his soup tasted like water. He pushed the plate away in frustration. With his stomach empty and his hands feeling dirty, he went to throw out the kitchen garbage, but the can was overflowing, a terrible, smelly mess. "Ugh," he said, holding his nose. "Where is Sandy? Why hasn't he emptied the garbage?" "Sandy won't be coming anymore," his mother said. "From now on, you'll have to empty the garbage yourself." Costly recoiled from the smell. The garbage was sticky and gross, and he had to hold his breath as he took it outside. He came back feeling stinky and miserable, and he decided to go to the garden for some fresh air. But the garden was a mess. The flowers were drooping, and weeds had sprouted everywhere. "What's happened to the garden?" he cried. "It looks terrible." "Julian won't be coming anymore," his mother said. "You'll have to take the weeds out and water the plants yourself." Costly felt a wave of despair. The work was endless, and his hands were sore. He knelt down to pull the weeds, but the garden was huge. He felt a tear of frustration roll down his cheek. That night, he sat at the dinner table, tired, hungry, and covered in dirt. "Mom," he said, his voice quiet. "Where are Stephen, Julian, Sandy, and Andy? Why haven't they come back?" His mother came and sat beside him. "Costly," she said, her voice soft. "Don't you remember? You were very rude to them all. They work very hard for us, and you never had a kind word for them. I don't think they'll come back. Unless you decide to be polite and show them that you care." Costly looked at his mother, and for the first time, a terrible realization dawned on him. He had been so selfish. He thought his life was easy because of magic, but it was because of the hard work of others. He felt a deep sense of shame and regret. "I'm sorry, Mom," he whispered, a tear falling from his eye. "I now understand how hard they work. I promise I'll be polite and kind. Please, please ask them to come back." His mother hugged him tightly. That night, Costly sat at his desk and, with a pencil in his hand, wrote a thank you note to each of the workers. He wrote about their hard work and how much he missed them. The next morning, his mother helped him buy a beautiful bouquet of flowers and small gifts. He waited for them to arrive, his heart pounding with nerves. When the workers came to the house, Costly ran to the door. "Hello, Stephen," he said, holding out a small gift. "This is for you. Thank you for keeping our house so clean. I'm sorry I was so rude." Stephen, surprised but touched, smiled. "Thank you, Costly." He did the same for Julian, giving him a small gardening tool. "Thank you, Julian. I know how hard you work to make our garden beautiful. I'm sorry." He apologized to Sandy and gave him a gift. "Thank you, Sandy. You are very important, and I'm sorry for being so unkind." And finally, he gave a gift to Andy, the chef. "Thank you, Andy, for all the delicious food you make. And I'm sorry for all the rude things I said." The workers, touched by his sincerity and his kind words, forgave him. The next day, the house was clean, the garden was beautiful, and the food was delicious. Costly's heart was full of a new kind of happiness. He had learned that kindness was a gift that, when given, made everyone happy, most of all himself.
Wonder murmur, the story departs, yet the whisper imparts.